brick stack high. Lego Batman swoops, lighting up the sky. Legacy of the Dark Knight, looking so fine. Got that reggae rhythm, games divine. Click clack, plastic capes in the breeze. Villains trembling, falling to their knees. From Arkham's ashes, a Lego star's born. This game's so hot, it's Rasta reborn. Oh, Lego Batman, legacy of the Dark Knight, shining so bright, it's still in the fight. Game of the year 2026, it's true. GTA 6 crying, what we gonna do? A Lego game picking up Arkham's crown. Suicide Squad, y'all let us down. Rastabat cave with a brick built vibe. Lego Dark Knight keeping hope alive. Batarang snapping, built from Lego blocks. Penguins waddling, but he's out of stock. Suicide Squad tried, but he crashed and burned. Should have been like this, man, lessons learned. GTA 6, Vice City's looking shook. Lego Batman's got them shook in their books. A toy game taking Arkham's holy grail. That's the capes winning, that's the funny tale. Oh, Lego Batman, legacy of the Dark Knight, shining so bright, it's still in the fight. Game of the year 2026, it's true. GTA 6 crying, what we gonna do? A Lego game picking up Arkham's crown. Suicide Squad, y'all let us down. Rastabat cave with a brick built vibe. Lego Dark Knight keeping hope alive. Yo, Rocksteady, what happened, man? Your squad game flop, left us all withdrawn. Lego's got the mantle, carrying the flame. A brick built Batman running the game. GTA 6 calling, yo, we're scared. Lego Bruce Wayne got 'em unprepared. Jah bless the bricks, this game's the one. 2026, Batman's having too much fun. Oh, Lego Batman, legacy of the Dark Knight, shining so bright, it's still in the fight. Game of the year 2026, it's true. GTA 6 crying, what we gonna do? A Lego game picking up Arkham's crown. Suicide Squad, y'all let us down. Fade out with the bass in the Gotham light. Lego Batman, Irie taking flight.
Time to play the game.
Attend the tale of Maxwell Roth. He sought the footlights like a moth, his sense of timing never off until he opted to collaborate with a hooded reprobate. The blighter and assassin made a deadly double bill. Jokes, 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 make 'em laugh until they choke. Fairly slay 'em in the aisles, maidens fair and princes charming. Thrills, 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 dashing feats and bloody spills, and I guarantee you'll never see the ending coming. The curtain rose, the scene was set, they danced a murderous duet, and much deserving blood was let up to the scene wherein they disagreed on who should live and who should bleed, and Maxwell Rothy then received a very bad review. Jokes, 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 and there's daggers and there's cloaks, but behind the scenes the leading players differ on the plot. Laugh, laugh, laugh at the dandy's new red scarf. Now 8 shows a week to Beelzebub is his eternal lot. Jokes, 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 make 'em laugh until they choke. Fairly slay 'em in the aisles, maidens fair and princess charming. Thrills, 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 dashing feats and bloody spills, and I guarantee you'll never see the ending coming.
Did you? Did you see it coming? You can be honest. You can be honest if you didn't. It's okay. I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you. Rocking and rolling. As you can probably tell from my voice, I am a wee bit under the weather. Just a wee bit. So we're not going to push it too hard today, unlike normal, because I don't want to like blow my voice or anything. So yeah, we're just going to chill, talk about a couple of things, and adjourn once we're done. You know, just nice and clean, a smooth stream. That's the goal. That's the goal today. And it should be fun because there's an update. Somebody at Bethesda is actually talking, which is interesting. They talked about some stuff with Starfield, some of their plans, which I did not have on my list today. There's also an AI team getting caught using Red Dead Redemption 2 to train their models and then trying to pass it off as their own work. Oops. And even Atari, this one was kind of crazy. Atari, of all companies, has bought the rights to 5 different Ubisoft IP that have been dormant for like 20 years. And so they're going to be making some old Ubisoft IP games. Who would have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? Hope you get better soon, Luke. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'm hoping it gets better as I hope I kick it soon as well. I went to the doctor. They were like, it's not an ear infection. It just looks like it could turn into one. So they still prescribed me antibiotics, but they were like, once you start to see like these symptoms, then you start taking them for, you know, I think it's the full 10-day like spread of antibiotics. But they're like, if you take them right now, it won't really do anything because it's currently in the phase where it's about to get there. You know, like it's working up to it, which is just fantastic. So right now I just have like a headache and a lot of drainage and stuff, but it's fine. Is Luke drinking a White Claw? No, I wish. That might make me feel better. It is called Slate, a vanilla cream protein shake. And I will tell you what, these things do not taste like protein shakes. Like they're a little dangerous. They're one of the better protein shakes I've ever encountered. They're quite good. Quite good. I also saw that, some different outlets and individuals have gotten codes to try Outer Worlds 2 early. And this morning, there's been a couple of impressions posted. I don't know if it's worth digging into too much. But, you know, they're trying to still push the game as they should. I just don't know if it's going to click with people. It's very, very interesting. But we'll get there. Anyway, drainage just as bad as moist. You know it. Everyone's reaction is meh. Have you watched them? Who all did it? The reaction I've seen is basically meh. That's never something you want to hear about a game that they were going to try to charge $80 for, you know. It's like you never want to see that. Maddie said it's Maddie gave it meh. Oh, Maddie's rooting for them. JV did one too. Oh, hell yeah. That's what's up.
That's most definitely what's up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Maddie, Outer Worlds too early. Definitely doesn't have that our game was funded by Microsoft feel we had hoped when they were bought. Rip Obsidian, a shadow of what it once was. I just hope it wasn't front loaded. Best content in 1 came from the opening hours, didn't reach that quality again until the DLC. After mid-first game of Avowed, I don't feel excited. Dude, and this, Maddie's community is like pretty hardcore into RPGs, into Fallout, into like, Maddie's community are the ones that would be rooting for this. So if his community is like, that's not great. Maddie and Jay were both meh. Really? I don't want to watch like the full thing, but I do want to hear like, is there a tidbit?
Waste with literally nothing else. I saw that level of gore and arms blowing off, and it wasn't anything like Fallout where you shoot someone in the head and their whole body explodes, at least not yet. Again, would have loved to see the perks and the leveling up and how that plays out and what gameplay buffs I get there. But as it stands now, lots of gore. Not sure if it's Fallout level though, but it seems like when it makes sense, like I shot an exploding barrel where a protectorate guard was there, and when it blew up, I mean, there were being. I like Obsidian RPGs. I just feel with the doubt around it being an $80 game at one point, and now the latest companion trailer being absolutely destroyed, I feel like the slice of the game you have to show to people like me has to be way, way more convincing. And it's not. So I'm not.
Well, I mean, that's the danger is if they're showing you something that's just like, you got to remember these previews, they typically are showing you the best that they have to offer. They're not going to like lead with their worst foot. You know, it's why typically whether it's Dragon Age or it's, I'm trying to think of another example, but Dragon Age Veilguard is a perfect example where the previews are really encouraging and are really like, wow, they might have actually pulled this off. And then you look a little bit deeper and you're like, oh, that was literally the only good stuff in the game. Like you showed me the really good stuff, but that was it. Like that was the whole thing. And you know, you would just hope for a little bit more. You'd hope for a little bit more. It's just really too bad. It's too bad. GameSpot also, this is funny. The title of the video is Outer Worlds 2 lets you roleplay a space moron. The top comment is, I thought the title said Space Mormon, and I'm incredibly disappointed.
Who stumbled ass backwards into his job, which I identify with. I played about an hour of Outer Worlds 2, the opening segment, and here's my 5 big takeaways. The humor and world building are both still really strong, really fun. The gunplay is improved. There's lots of different ways to deal with situations. And if you liked the first Outer Worlds, this is more of that. It's just better.
What in the void was going on out there? Did you think shooting up the place was a good idea right now?
So first of all, it's just really funny. The Outer Worlds has always had.
I don't know why. It always scares me when a games journalist says something is funny. I like brace. Like, oh God, here we go. Maybe that's unfair of me. Maybe I'm just a sassy little boy, but I whenever I hear a game journalist being like, it's really witty, I'm like, oh God.
A knack for humor. It's very writerly humor.
In the parlance of Agent Pascal, some crazy censored.
I played as a roustabout,
That's funny.
which means you have no real skills. You just kind of fell into this commander position, and you bumble your way through every situation. Sort of like Zap Brannigan from Futurama, if he were in Outer Worlds.
I can fly it, sir. I just need to know where and how.
That opened all sorts of dialogue options and avenues that were genuinely making me laugh. At one point, someone asked me, like, why are you doing this? And I was like, look, man, I don't know. I'm improvising.
What? I've never heard anyone else admit to such a thing.
Because you're just kind of floating through life in space, which is a really funny comic conceit. The world building is still really strong, partly because it's so funny. It's this strong sense of satire, mocking up like corporations and governments and the cooperation between them.
Whether against corrupt corporations, tyrannical governments, or corrupt corporations in league with tyrannical governments.
And
it is a little funny. It is a little funny that this is coming from a company owned by Microsoft. I mean, a $4 trillion company. But yeah, down with the corpos.
putting it in the context of space, but like a pretty thin layer of satire. They're not exactly gilding the lily. You know exactly what kinds of things they're mocking.
Haven't you heard? We're the best and brightest. We infiltrate corrupt governments before breakfast most days.
And as a person bubbling through all this, it gives you kind of a unique comic perspective, but that was only one of several different origin stories I could have chosen. The gunplay, I think if anything, feels improved. I mostly had a pistol for most of my time. I was going with a sneaky route, so I was stabbing dudes in the back, mostly in the butt, and I was shooting them with my pistol, which felt really good, just squeezing off shots quickly. At one point,
squeezing off shots. What a weird way to say that. I like pinching off shots. You know, it's a light pinch. I mean, initially you squeeze, but then you got to pinch off the shot. You know, that's the key.
when I got a higher powered rifle, that felt really good and powerful. But both of them felt really good and impactful. And because it's an Obsidian game, there's lots of different ways to deal with the same situation. You can sneak, you can talk to people, you can shoot your way through, you can muscle your way through. I actually had to talk somebody into calling the guards on me because he was so devoted, because that was the only way to get across a bridge.
Huh. It's interesting. Luke, salutations from Mexico. Thank you for the great content and stay true, brother. Also, wink if you have information about The Expanse. Not really. I mean, I would like to. If they have info they could send me, I'd be happy to do that. But I don't know anything else beyond what everybody else knows. So not really. Anyway, I mean, all of this, it's so weird. It's so weird. I feel like sometimes you look at a game and you just got to follow your gut. You know, like the gut vibes are powerful. You remember that first announcement trailer for Expedition 33? I remember seeing that while we were co-streaming the event. Expedition 33 announcement trailer. Like, I remember the first time we saw that reveal trailer. Just being like, wow, this looks like something special. Just immediately, you get the vibe. This is something that's going to be special. Even if it's only 6 hours long, it still is probably going to be remarkable. And it just, whether it's the artwork or it's the performances or the music.
And everyone of that age vanishes into nothingness.
Oh.
Every year she paints again. And every year, an expedition departs for the continent with one hopeless mission. Destroy the paintress so she can never paint death again.
Then they seamlessly transition to gameplay.
So she can't steal anyone else's future.
This world is full of wonders.
Yet everywhere we go, we walk with death.
Do you mean we're the only ones left?
I only wanted to watch a few seconds of this, but it's so good.
Even if we fail,
it's so good.
We lay the trail for those who will come after.
For those who come after.
Right. We are Expedition 33.
So good. But from the moment you see it, you're like, this is something special. It just tickles you in your spot. The spot that makes you excited for games. And I feel like with Outer Worlds 2, I just have not seen anything that gets me excited in that way. Like maybe it is going to be, an amazing game. I just haven't seen that hook. I haven't seen that thing. Because what everybody says is it's more Outer Worlds 2, which is not necessarily bad. It's just not that thrilling or exciting, and one of my frustrations with modern Obsidian is that modern Obsidian feels like they are games crafted from the ground up for Game Pass. Like they are games you probably wouldn't buy at full price normally because they're just not that amazing. They're fine or even good, but they're not probably $70 good, But they're fantastic values on Game Pass. You download it, you can get 20, 30, 40 hours out of them and have a good time, And I feel like that mentality of producing something good enough for Game Pass, but not necessarily good enough for $70 has just kind of spilled across into all of their projects. It's why I've said, like, maybe don't get your hopes up too high for like a Fallout New Vegas 2 or remake from them, because it probably would end up playing like Outer Worlds. It wouldn't be like a perfect return to form for New Vegas. It would be, pretty good, but it probably wouldn't be that masterpiece that you have in mind. So, I mean, I think it's probably going to be good. But it's one of those Game Pass games. It's like a C+, B-, which is not bad. I'm really struggling to get excited for it. I'm really struggling to get excited for it, which is too bad. It's really too bad because I have historically really liked Obsidian stuff, but I just can't bring myself to get like super hyped for it. And it sounds like a lot of the impressions are just kind of like meh. You guys said JV also was kind of meh. Oh, you got to play 4 hours of it. That's good though. 4 hours. Jesus. I'll explain how I played 4 hours in a minute. You played 4 hours in a minute? Dad jokes in the comments. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. What's this? See, that sounds great. I'm just worried because so many game companies have done the best. First bit of the game, awesome. Oh, the opening section. I bet that's it.
How it would affect the game. And you know what? I came away fairly impressed with how different the situations could turn out based on these decisions, just in the beginning prologue of the game. So let's start with the character creation.
I mean, that's good. That's good. But as always, like Outer Worlds was really front loaded. The first one, as I recall it, they had a lot of effort put into the opening bit, and then it got really, really dry as it went on. But it's been a while since I played it. To be fair, it's been a while. But I don't know. We'll check it out. I just am not expecting this to be like an $80 game. You know, I'm not expecting probably even $70. It's probably a pretty good game and nothing more, which is not necessarily bad, but it's good enough for Game Pass, which I think tells you everything you need to know. As for further coverage, I have no idea. I mean, we'll see. It comes out in September something. When is it coming out? Outer Worlds to October. Oh, so we still got time. Yeah. Let's see. Polygon did a preview. Outer Worlds 2. Corporate greed never looked so good. Uh-oh. If Polygon likes it. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. First hour has layers and layers of role-playing opportunities. Outer Worlds 2 feels like a much more ambitious RPG than its predecessor. PC Gamer is typically pretty good. I played its prologue 3 times with different builds. Each felt unique. Oh, so we actually got to go through it 3 different times. That's cool. That's exciting. I liked but didn't love the first game in 2019, but the Outer Worlds 2's opening has me thinking this one's headed in the right direction. As long as the team at Obsidian can sustain the mechanical freedom and reactivity I saw over the course of the full game. So, I mean, JV says he liked the intro bits, and now PC Gamer is also echoing that in the first hour or so there's a lot of variability. That's really, really cool. Let's see. Earth Directorate Captain on a mission to a secretive autocratic solar system that also happens to be the exclusive manufacturer of faster-than-light engines. The zany capitalist malfeasance of the first game's corporations has been turned in for a kooky cult of personality with a penchant for brainwashing. It's bliss. Okay. So different unjammed door requires the trait Brawny. You can also use the engineering trait to achieve it as well. Okay, the gambler background, probably unique dialogue options and opportunities and stuff like that. Johnny Karate, what a name. Is that, I think that's Parks and Rec. Johnny Karate. Am I making that up? I think that's Parks and Recreation, I think. No, where's that Johnny Spaghetti? I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched the show. Let's see. I really dig this premise, moving in the direction of weirder, bigger sci-fi. Also, the Outer Worlds 2 just feels more expensive than anything Obsidian's made in a hot minute. It's not just the great art direction and shiny UE5 graphics, which it shares in common with Avowed. There's also a lot of touches that feel premium. The pre-rendered intro cinematic, a variety of unique animations and angles and conversations, not just the Oblivion stare, and way more in-engine cutscenes than I expected. It helps explain why Microsoft briefly thought it might get away with an $80 price tag before backing off. I mean, I do think they've spent a lot more money on this. I don't think that's a question. It's whether the customer feels like it's worth $80. And I just think, like, when you think $80 RPG, people are going to, like, Mass Effect. They're thinking of Baldur's Gate. They're thinking of, like, the best of the best. And this just, for whatever reason, doesn't feel quite like that way. But maybe it is, and it's just a matter of presenting it and convincing players that it is that good. Word of mouth could be really, really crucial for this if it really is phenomenal. Let's see. I mostly bring up character creation because I really dug the prosthetic options. You have 3 robo-limb aesthetics to choose from, each of your arms and legs, ranging from gunmetal skeleton hands to a swanky ivory ensemble like a swagged out Adam Jensen. It's a bit of a sci-fi flair that I really love, and something I was always missing from Cyberpunk 2077's otherwise superior character creation options. It's more streamlined than the first game in terms of stats and skills, but not in a way that offended my hardcore RPG sicko sensibilities. Attributes are gone, and at character creation, you pick a background, 1 to 2 positive traits, potentially 1 negative trait, and 2 tagged skills, 3 with the most OP trait. It's a reduction in complexity to the first game, but not necessarily depth. Skills look like they're raised on a smaller scale than the first game's Fallout like 0 to 100, but with each rank offering bigger gameplay boosts, as well as opening up more dialogue and environmental skill checks. So they streamlined the actual RPG like stat sheet, whatever you want to call it, but they tried to do that to also increase depth, which is possible. It's possible that if you are able to streamline and simplify it down and like compress the range of skills from 0 to 100, maybe it maxes out at 20. So after you level up 5 times, you can do more skill gates and checks as you go through. There's all sorts of things you could do. That's the thing that had me most excited from this demo. We're not quite in full Deus Ex or Dishonored territory, but I saw a lot of immersive sim-light design that always makes me smile in an RPG. This prologue reminded me of the design in Obsidian's criminally underrated RPG Alpha Protocol, but much more polished. The better New Vegas quests like Beyond the Beef or Cyberpunk's excellent side gig Infiltrations. I played through the demo 3 times, twice going sneakily and once loud with different skill setups each time. This is really cool. I wish more RPGs would let people do this. Sorry, I keep swapping the wrong camera. I wish more RPGs would do this in previews and stuff. Like actually let people try 2-3 times different routes with different skills and loadouts and stuff and just see if they can find a different way to do it. I think that's super cool. The straight gunplay was satisfying enough that in that Fallout 4 sort of way, with a returning bullet time mechanic spicing things up. But the Outer Worlds 1 was all about wacky, weird guns with strange effects, and the pistol, rifle, dagger, and electric baton of the demo arsenal don't seem indicative of the full experience. Ghosting the demo, meanwhile, was a real treat. It doesn't look like the Outer Worlds 2 supports full pacifism. The first room on the sneaky route of the demo had a guard staring straight at the exit with no access to distraction tools yet, but there wasn't a single point where I was forced into a fight because enemies had been automatically alerted to my presence, the cardinal sin of RPGs that lets you build sneaky and then punish you for it. That was a problem that Star Wars Outlaws had. They had all of these like moments where they were like going stealth, but then they flip it, and then there's a scripted moment where everything breaks out, and it happened time and time again. It was honestly kind of frustrating. They patched it after launch and redid a lot of that stuff, though. I was pleasantly surprised at how many skill checks were scattered in both dialogue and the environment. Science, engineering, and a few traits enabled access to explosive traps and an interaction with a deactivated security mech, while lockpicking and hacking both opened up pathways around enemies to aid with stealth. Using a dialogue check over the intercom to convince hapless guard to disable some of the security made him recognize my voice and distrust me when I needed him to lower a bridge for me later on. Oh, that's cool. That's honestly cool, because you tricked him once. Now he's also less prone to be tricked again. If I couldn't make the speech check to trade bridge access for a side quest to erase the demerits from his permanent record, saving him from re-education, I could always lockpick a nearby door with a path around him instead. Okay, that's cool. I like this stuff. The big question is just with all of these RPGs, how does it hold up in the long term? Because when you're building basically a tutorial level, of course you're going to have a lot of things to be like, see, you can do this and this and this. It's how you maintain that for like a 30, 40 hour game. That's the tricky bit. That's a tricky bit. I could also provoke him into sicking security robots on me, which in a crucial design failure lowers the bridge anyway. But going loud like that would earn a tut-tut from my deep cover directorate contact in the facility. All throughout the demo, traits, skills, and my background unlocked proactive dialogue choices and unique offhand remarks. It's a style of scripted, authored reactivity that Obsidian has always excelled at. In this prologue portion of The Outer Worlds 2, it felt like my build and dialogue choices could offer a radically different experience each time through. Avowed caught a lot of flack for being a straight-up action RPG in the Mass Effect mold, while having a first-person perspective usually associated with more open-ended gameplay. I love Avowed for what it is, but The Outer Worlds 2 feels like it could offer more of that sort of immersive sim RPG style of game. Now it's just a question of whether Obsidian was able to sustain it or even expand on this prologue level's freedom over the course of the full game. So basically, it's like, if they can maintain this or even expand it, this is phenomenal. This is going to be really, really good, really something special. But if they can't maintain it, or if things simplify, things get compressed as time goes by, then it probably falls off a little bit and kind of falls flat. And that's been the struggle for Outer Worlds in the past, was that they could kind of stagnate. But that's interesting. That's very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, I think they'll do more press and more stuff, because they still have like 2 months. So there's going to be more previews. There's going to be reviews. There's going to be all sorts of stuff like that. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it develops. Yeah, sorry. I am sick. Yes. Indeed. Honestly, after KCD2, every RPG looks for me like it's not even trying. I mean, KCD2 is just very, very good, but it's a different kind of RPG, right? Like, it's a grounded historical RPG, but man, it's very good. It's very, very good. Cyberpunk had a similar issue where it felt like it had the most options compared to later missions. Well, and it's natural, especially in a game that has like big quest or big set piece quest lines or big moments within the story. You can put a lot of effort in that. You can assign a few game designers to work on it and do all of that, but you got to give them time. And you can't, obviously, you can't put the same amount of effort as you did into the big moment in the first hour of the game as you can putting effort into the other 30 hours. It just doesn't work that way. So it's about how you scale it and how you still make it engaging as time goes on. Your take on Hell Is Us. Surprised more people aren't talking about it. I do plan on talking about it soon. I just can't talk about it yet, but I do plan on talking about it because I do think that that's one that's kind of going under people's radar for sure. I agree. KCD2 is literally a medieval sim. Talk about being transported. Dude, and it's one of those where, like, if you give yourself over to KCD2, it's one of the most immersive games you'll ever play in your life. Like, it's hard to explain to people because when they first boot it up and they're like, what do you mean I have to eat? What do you mean I can't just save anywhere? What do you mean I have to go sleep on a bed in order to save? Or, like, you can also exit and save, but still. It's, for some people, it's really intimidating. But if you can get past that, oh my God, it's amazing. But it's also not, I mean, it's not for everybody. And I think that's an important thing to acknowledge is some people will just not like it. And that's okay. I still need to play the demo for that game. Oh, for Hell Is Us. Yeah, you should check it out. The demo, I think, is pretty decent. The question I've had with Hell Is Us is just how that totally unguided, no hand-holding approach, how that translates across a whole experience, like a whole 30, 40, however long it's going to be game, you know? Because I don't know how long it's going to be. But I'm really interested in how that translates. Will I be reviewing Borderlands 4? I do not know. I don't know. Have they sent codes out already? Because if so, I don't have one, which is fine. But I also think I've gotten a lot of requests from people being like, we'd like you to be able to play more games on stream and to do stuff on launch day and stuff, which I'm also down for. It just means, like, if I'm reviewing a game, obviously I can't play the game on stream because it's under embargo. It's a review. So I have to play it off stream and I have to end the stream early so I can go work on the game I'm doing a review for and stuff like that. But a lot of you guys have asked if we could play more games on stream, and I hear you. I would like to do that as well. So I think we're going to experiment with some of these games coming this fall, and we're going to transition out of doing day one like reviews where we're trying to hit a review on the embargo date, and instead we're going to like play them together and try that instead of like trying to do the review thing, because you guys have asked for it. So we'll see. Have I seen the new Helldivers update? Yeah, I did see it. I've not played it yet. I do want to though. We have a guys night where me and my buddies from college, every Thursday night we play games together, and recently we've been playing Helldivers, so we'll probably boot into that update. Yeah. A critique that's thought out and comes out later after the embargo is better anyways. Yeah, I mean, they're just different, but I think it's also just with how much time it takes to like play a 50-hour game and then make a review for a 50-hour game, basically in secret, while I'm also trying to stream and make other videos and do all of that. It's just a lot. Whereas if we loosen up and we're like, hey, we'll play it at launch, I don't need to play it before launch, I'll check it out when it comes out, that can also work. And there will still be some games where we do reviews, specifically, but I'm not going to, I think, stress out so much over it. But okay, let's check this out. New segment, quietly. There is an update, my friends, from Bethesda Game Studios. They are doing these developer spotlights. And this first one is a guy named Tim Lamb, who you'll recognize as Visor Man. And if you watch like the making of, I think it was the making of Oblivion documentary, he's in that. Like, he's been around forever. Seriously forever. Maybe it was making a Fallout 3. Oh wait, no, was that him? Yeah, that's him right there. This is like 2005, 2006, sitting next to Todd as they're making Oblivion. Okay, so he's been around forever. And they are now doing these deep dives and spotlights on developers within the studio. And he talks a little bit about what they've been doing for the last year and what they're going to do with Starfield. Because bear in mind, Starfield was supposed to get major expansions every year. It was supposed to get tons of updates. And they've basically been silent since, was it August or September of last year when they did the Shattered Space DLC that was really not great. They've just been AFK and haven't said much of anything. But in this video, apparently they talk about it. So let's see.
My name's Timothy Lamb. I'm the lead creative producer for Starfield.
I could have just waited and they would have shown the clip from back in Oblivion days. Creative producer. Yeah, back in that day, he was like QA lead or something. So now he's like creative producer. I will not pretend to know what all of those titles mean, because they can kind of mean whatever they want depending on what they assign him to do. But still, he's been there forever.
I got my start at a third-party testing house in Hunt Valley, Maryland. Probably the first title I remember being credited on was Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. One of the guys that worked there said, hey, have you tried this game, Morrowind? He's like, you should pick it up. We did a little bit of work on it here. I'll give anything a shot. I was like sort of desperate for the fun to come back into gaming. I think I told Todd this story once where it was, I'm going through and I get off the boat and I get out of the first town and I'm just walking down the road and there's somebody standing there asking for my help. And I murdered them and took all their clothes and was like, this is the greatest game ever.
At the time, that was revolutionary. One of the folks I
worked with said, hey, do you want to apply to be the lead tester for Oblivion? And I was like, where do I sign up? Let me get you my resume as soon as I can. And then like from then on, I was hooked. I think of Oblivion in hindsight as charming, mainly because of the exposure of the remaster. It's like the trip down memory lane, and I remember so much about it that I thought I forgot. being in the behind the scenes for the making of Oblivion and getting to sit on the couch, while odd at the time, but it was like that first time where it was like I was sort of on the inside, and that was exciting. And then like as a QA lead, the sort of project lead production role opened up. And
then I started making games. I started making it. I want to know how he selected the visor. Because I remember watching a video. Do you guys remember the show Mythbusters? Do you guys remember that? Unfortunately, back in the day. I still, to this day, love Mythbusters. But Jamie Heineman, the guy with the the white button-up shirt and the beret. I remember watching a whole like little video on why he wore a beret, like how he picked that hat out of all of the hats in the world to wear as like his hat. And apparently he just went to like a hat store and was trying to look for something unique that would provide some cover for his head because he was balding. So he was like, oh yeah, sure, this works. And he put it on and it became his look, you know? I respect it. I respect it a lot when you have a look. People just see like your wardrobe and they know who you're talking about. I can say visor guy from Bethesda and you know it's this guy, you know it's Tim Lamb. I can say maybe you know, he's got the glasses, the kind of goatee, and then the black beret, and you know Jamie Heineman. You know, I like that kind of branding. I like it. Appreciate it.
We get into Fallout.
Yeah, Rip Grant. That was really sad, honestly, what happened to Grant. It's really tragic.
3, which was the first game we had guns in. That was like this shift. I was working on Oblivion, and Emil had sent around an email asking for ideas for sort of scrap types of weapons and ideas for weapons to be added to Fallout 3. So I pitched this idea of a gun that shot railroad spikes, which ended up being brought to life by the team as the railway rifle. So that was my first, they saw my idea and they liked it, right? It was a very exciting time in game.
That's fun.
And then we go into Skyrim, which is like, oh, it's all the great stuff in Oblivion, but better. We're just making it all better. And then we get into Fallout 4, and we had more, I'll say, modern action-oriented first-person shooting.
And I to this day, I will defend Fallout 4 when it comes to the gunplay and stuff. I do think they made major improvements. I mean, especially if you don't appreciate it, if you're like, you know, it kind of sucks, go back and play Fallout 3 and you'll see like how bad it was and how much work they had to do to get it to where it was in Fallout 4. Like, is it phenomenal? No, like it's not. But for a game like this, it was so much better. It's kind of ridiculous. Low bar. That's totally fair to point out. Yeah, it is a low bar, but I still think that it's quite good for a game like this.
Worked really close with the team of folks to get that portion of the game working. So that was super exciting. It was kind of a case where Todd was like, no, you're the right person for this. You guys go, and he just let us go off and do our thing. And we came back a couple months later and we're like, ta-da, guns. And we got to show it to the team, and the team was really excited about it. And it's like one of those moments that's sort of like, oh, we're doing it. We can do it. It's going to be awesome. And it's sort of like the team gets excited about it and gets behind the project. Got to work on Dogmeat a lot with that team. Like, I mean, come on. You know what I mean? It's like so much fun.
Let's go, boy.
Dad of boy.
76, first multiplayer. There was a summer during 76, and it was like just this summer of adventure, going through the missile silo over and over again, launching nukes. I still look back and I was like, you know, it was hard work, but that summer was just like, it was like a blast. I didn't mind being up late because like we were just like a couple of guys playing games together. It was a blast.
It's been interesting to see how the Fallout 76 narrative has shifted over time. Like when it first came out, everybody was super hush-hush about it. And it was sort of insinuated that it was mostly Bethesda Game Studios, I want to say Austin, that was responsible for it because they bought out that studio, built them up, and then they were going to handle Fallout 76 maintenance and all of that stuff. And so the initial framing was like, no, BGS, like Maryland, the main team, they're working on what would end up being Starfield. So they're working away on that. They just provided some oversight. So you shouldn't look at Fallout 76 and then infer from that there's problems with the rest of their development pipeline. And nowadays they're very open about it. Like, no, Maryland was very involved in Fallout 76, like very, 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 which is just, it's interesting to see how it's transitioned. And I think it's because now Fallout 76 has a following. It has a fan base of its own. There are lots of people who like it, but I think now it's easier to be like, yeah, I worked on Fallout 76, because people have kind of forgotten about that thing that happened 7 years ago when it was one of the worst things to release in recent memory.
But Starfield is sort of the culmination. It does so many of the things that those other games do.
Yes.
But like 4 times as much in a way. Like everything is.
You mean
16 times the detail.
I listen. I like Tim. I think Tim would be a really cool guy to get a beer with. I think he's like genuinely seems like a really cool guy, a kind person who's passionate. All of that hopefully goes without saying. Like, I think we all can at least acknowledge that. But any discourse around Starfield does certainly start to get caught up in like, is that actually true? Like, I hate to be like the fact checker and be like, okay, I understand that's how we're trying to frame it for the sake of like marketing, but I feel like that's maybe not accurate to what the typical gamers felt. So we'll see if I can get through this without being a prick.
Everything is what we did before plus more fidelity.
Okay, already. Is it though? Is it everything you did before? Because I think most people's complaint about Starfield was that it was antithetical to what Bethesda was good at. Like, they were good at handcrafted environments, at like world building, at environmental storytelling, and things like that. And they scrapped most of that in favor of procedural generation and doing everything with like this algorithmic approach, which just felt soulless and uninteresting and unfun. And like, even exploring within the galaxy that they gave you with all these planets and everything, it still somehow got boring despite so much variability and so many options and opportunities. Primarily just because it wasn't fun. Like it just, they lost what they were really good at while they were in this process of trying to build this really impressive technical thing, but they lost what they were really good at. So I would disagree on the point that it does everything that the previous games did. I think that's the reason so many people disconnected from it and felt frustrated by it, was because it lost some of those things that they previously did.
More complexity. To me, Starfield was like making 4 games. You have your, I'm running around shooting aliens and space guys. You have your, I'm flying around in a spaceship, shooting other spaceships. You have the ship builder game. You have the,
which I will defend that till my dying day. The shipbuilding in Starfield, legitimately really cool. I know some people that watch these videos and stuff are like, you know, we meme, we joke about Starfield being bad, blah, blah, blah. But legitimately, the ship customization and building in Starfield is really cool, and I wish more games did that. The HAB stuff, the settlement system in Starfield, I felt like didn't really ever connect as well as it did in other places like Fallout 4. And I think it's because everything was so spread out that you just didn't really need to do it. You know, like in Fallout, you go, you build your settlement, your base, and you're always traveling back there to dump your resources and do all of that. But in Starfield, I just never really felt the push to go and build out a super epic city, you know, or massive settlement. I remember I took the trait that gives you the mansion. I don't remember if it was my first run or another run where I did. And you can basically, in your like beginning, phases or your character build or whatever, you can select that you basically want a mansion, and you can go and you can find it on a planet, and it's a really nice house. I think I visited it that once to capture footage for it, and then never again. Because I had no reason to. Like, there was no reason to go back there. And there's a lot of stuff like that in Starfield where I think it's just like, the same thing with the parents. You can take that one trait where you have parents that live at New Atlantis, and you can go visit them like once or twice, and they'll have dialogue. After that, if you go back and visit them, you talk to them and they don't have any dialogue to give back to you. It's like the most surface level thing ever. Like, it is a big game and there's a lot of stuff going on. Absolutely. But it's always just enough to say it's in the game and nothing more. You can get parents and you can visit them, and then they'll also take money from your inventory once a week in game because you're supporting them financially. And there is literally nothing else beyond that. Like, it is just the most surface level feature set, and it's unfortunate. And I think people nowadays look for depth. They don't just look for like a vast expanse of marketing bullet points of things that you can technically do. I mean, maybe some people are totally fine with that, but I do think people are looking for more depth. They want to be surprised. They don't want to just like, oh, I can do this, and then it's like exactly what it says and nothing more. And it's like, oh, okay. I think people want depth. I think they do.
Outpost game. Starfield to me was like making 4 games at once.
And I would agree with that. It does feel like 4 games at once. Unfortunately for me, I feel like almost none of the games are particularly good. Like, I thought the ship combat was pretty mid. So that's its own game. I thought the on-planet, on-foot exploration was mid. The gunplay and combat was fine. I'd say that maybe even good. There's a lot of weapons and a lot of variability there. So maybe we could even say that's good for a game like this. The writing, and so like the narrative RPG game that you're building, I don't think that was particularly good at all. I thought it was pretty boring. So I just feel like you made 4 games, sure, but it like none of them are particularly good. Like, they're all just kind of you know?
I think as it comes to Starfield, I'm really excited for players to see what the team's been working on. We have some cool stuff coming, including free updates and features that players have been asking for, as well as a new DLC story. I can't go into all the details just yet, but I will say part of the team has been focused on space gameplay to make the travels there more rewarding. We're also adding some new game systems and a few other smaller delights. There's also some really interesting stuff coming down the pipe from our verified creators. There's some fun stuff. I just want to say thanks. We really appreciate the support and the enthusiasm. We can't wait to get it into the hands of our players.
And that is it. So we've been waiting about a year, and that's it. So let's go through each of these one more time, just specifically, okay?
The team has been focused on space game. All the details just yet, but I will say part of the team has been focused on space gameplay to make the travels there more rewarding.
Space gameplay to make travels there more rewarding. Some data miners also found tidbits in the code that suggested a cruise mode is what it's called. So some people think that cruise mode could be for like basically traveling within a star system and flying there yourself, where you don't need to load like even to a different planet within the same system. You could actually fly there quickly, kind of do a warp speed jump kind of thing. That's possible that's what it is, but there's a specific line of there's multiple lines of code in the game now that are determined to be like cruise mode, whatever that means. So that's probably what he's referring to there, to make it more rewarding. I don't know if they're just going to change the loot drops or more dynamic encounters, whatever that could be. I'm not sure. What else?
We're also adding some new game systems and a few other
new game systems. I'm wondering, I mean, that could mean almost anything. It could mean in the new story DLC, they're going to add space fishing. We joked about that, but that unironically could be something that they could do. They could add new like I don't know, a cooking system
Ed Boys
I don't
Variety
know.
Hour donated $10 through Super Chat.
Space hunting.
That's cool and all. Anyways, on an unrelated note, No Man's Sky just got an update today, and I'd reckon they just ate Bethesda's lunch.
Should we look at that right after this? See what that update is. Thank you for the 10. Why don't we look at that after this and see what they're doing? Okay, what else? What else do they have?
Smaller delights. There's also some really interesting stuff coming down the pipe from our verified creators. There's some fun stuff.
Again, dude, the verified creators thing, it's just paid mods. Like they're charging you for mods. They're literally in their announcement. Like I appreciate the developer spotlight. I think this is genuinely really cool, and I think more studios should do this to raise like the next generation of leaders. So it's not just Todd and Kojima forever. Like you gotta promote some new faces and voices and stuff. He's an older gentleman. He's been around forever, but I do think it's cool to see some developers that are not just the same ones we've seen a bajillion times over. But I just find it frustrating that after all this, like, we're just still highlighting paid mods. Like, come on, guys. Come on. I understand why it is useful. You can have the community building content. The community member that made the content can charge money for it. But it still feels like Starfield is not the game that people wanted. It's just not there yet. And they're still relying on paid mods to fix it, which is frustrating as hell. Bite Size, thank you for the 5. Hey Luke, thanks for doing that clips video for Cobra. I'm very sad. It sucks big time. F Starfield, Rip King Cobra, rocking with Ozzy. Yeah, dude, it is genuinely really sad. I was like messed up for the whole weekend about it. I was like, I didn't realize how much I cared about our little Boglum friend, but I really did. We were all rooting for him. We all wanted him to get better. We all wanted him to get his clock tower dream house mansion. Even if we might joke about it and poke fun and, enjoy partaking in the laughs about whether it's drink combos or the ridiculous mukbangs he'd make. But ultimately, we all wanted him to get better. And it's just really sad to see how it turned out. I mean, I don't think anybody can say they're particularly shocked that his health gave out on him, because he was drinking like straight up rancid mead and food that was days old and stuff. So like, it's not that shocking, but it doesn't make it any less sad. But he's rocking out with Ozzy, and he's doing much better, I think. Not hurting anymore, 100% wanted him to get better and stop drinking. People, for some reason, think I hated him. I met him several times in real life, and he was the nicest dude ever. Yeah, well, it's just, I think there's a difference between, like, the poking and prodding. And there certainly were some, like, evil people that were genuinely trying to, like, ruin his life. Without a doubt. I mean, there's always going to be people like that. But I think the vast, vast, vast majority of people that followed Cobra just found him to be fascinating and compelling. And ultimately, the legacy of Cobra is that he showed everybody you can be yourself, as crazy and as gothic and bad boy and sometimes kind of gross and sometimes kind of crazy. You can be yourself, and you can still find thousands and thousands of people who will connect with you and love you and remember you. He was trying to be the best version of himself he could, as someone who was not, let's be honest, dealt he didn't win the genetic lottery, but he tried to be the best version of himself that he could be, fighting his demons, and we're all going to remember him forever. Rip Cobra, indeed. Rip Cobra. Rip Cobra. But yeah, he's staying on the soundboard.
That's most definitely what's up.
He's staying on the soundboard forever, I'll tell you that. Anyway, well, we can transition over to this, because I know some people are not familiar with Cobra, which is totally fine. It's just a gothic bad boy that passed away, unfortunately, about a week ago. But let's see. So you guys, to go back to where we were, let's see. Oh yeah. It was Ed Boy's Variety Hour. Thank you. The No Man's Sky update ate Starfield's lunch. Yes. So sorry, Jacob, for you cutting this together. You're gonna have fun cutting that together. But if we look at this, to refocus. Otherwise, we'll just get distracted and sad. To refocus. So No Man's Sky just today released update or revealed update 6.0, which they are calling Voyagers. And you guys are saying in chat that this eats Starfield's lunch? I'm intrigued. The game that keeps giving? Dude, seriously.
John the Tank donated $10 through Super Chat. All jokes aside about Starfield's quality, but do gamers really expect him to say, yeah, Starfield sucked, on camera for a marketing video or interview? Like, is that justification really needed?
No, I totally see what you're saying, John the Tank. And it's like we've said when we look at these interviews and stuff, like when Todd is asked, I think it was Greg Miller, he was asked, like, what do you think of the people that, you know, the varied reception that Starfield's gotten? Because some people loved it. Some people didn't love it and thought that it was, you know, kind of a departure from what you're good at. What do you say to those people? And that's a question asking, like, the guy that runs the company. Obviously, he doesn't want to go, yeah, and, you know, a lot of people think our game sucks. He doesn't want to say that. Like, he's going to spin it. So he's like, a lot of people liked our game and a lot of people liked it less. It's like, okay, it's used car salesman spin. Like, we shouldn't expect much more. And I think that's fine. My frustration is that this is a game where the vast majority of people, and I've done this with polls and surveys and things that we've done, they seem to feel that Starfield at the very least has major problems in need of fixing, right? And in the case of other games that have had major problems in need of fixing, the developers will come out, acknowledge those problems, and work to fix them, and then everybody's happy. Like, I do think if they could get Starfield to the point where they deliver on what was promised and what people wanted out of it, it could be a phenomenal game. Which is why, like, even now we're still talking about it, because people like the idea of Starfield. They like the vision of it. They like what they were trying to do. The problem is it's just not that, you know? And my frustration is that I feel like there's not really been any acknowledgement that there's anything wrong with writing quality or with things like the exploration being so brain dead and boring. It just feels like if you disagree with them, you're just a hater and then you're cast aside. So, and you see that even with some of the fandom too, where, you know, there's no actual like critical evaluation of what's being said. But all of that set to the side, I do understand what you're saying. Like, they're not going to come out and just be like, yeah, Starfield, yeah, we understand it's not great. My frustration is when it feels like we're saying things that are not true for the sake of branding or marketing hype or this or that, whatever the cause may be. Because for one, it can mislead people into thinking the game is one thing when it's not. And so then they buy it and then they're disappointed and wasted their money. And then on the other side, I think it also could reflect poorly within the studio and lead to things not improving and changing if we're just going to do the marketing spin no matter what, you know. But let's see this Voyager update. You guys are saying that this eats Starfield's lunch. Let's see.
What if you could build your own ship? If you could get up and walk around mid-flight, build a crew of friends and adventure together. Your ship is maybe the most important character in No Man's Sky. It's so central to the game that now when we change it,
did they actually do it?
Everything in the game feels completely different. The ships have real interiors, med bays, sleeping quarters, war rooms, radars, teleporters. It changes how you play. And then there are these moments, just looking out of the window, the universe flying by, and it's changing how the game feels too. Building your own ship, decorating it with friends, your own space that you share together, everyone with their own roles. It feels really special. Building a spaceship, it's really different to building a base in No Man's Sky. You can show it off in the Space Anomaly, you play in it with friends, it's with you on every planet, every adventure, it's your home.
Dude.
This has been one of the biggest undertakings for our little team. Every area of the game has to be reworked in some way. Having your multiplayer crew walking around, just calmly editing your ship as it travels at warp speeds towards a planet. It's actually pretty insane what's going on behind the scenes to make all of that work. And then on our other game, Lighten a Fire, you have these real oceans to navigate. We need boats and crews, and this tech is being developed for both games. Voyagers is version 6.0. It's a big milestone, honestly, one of our biggest updates. What I love is that it opens up a whole new path for the future. We can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Bro. They just casually did everything. Wow. Wow. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. But this is what people are comparing games like Star Citizen, like Starfield to, and it's a tough, thing to meet, because obviously Hello Games has been working on this game for over a decade at this point. I mean, it originally launched in 2016, and they're still doing updates for it. So they were working on it back in like 2014, 15, or 2013, 14. So it's been a long time coming, but that's what it takes to deliver on all these promises and the vision of what I think a lot of people are expecting. But this gets me excited. I want to check it out. Because they've really, really turned it around. It's the idea that No Man's Sky, again, just go back in time to 2016 when No Man's Sky launches, and it's critically panned, everybody hates it, everybody's like, the Hello Games studio, they're having to go underground and hide because they're receiving so many death threats over the game and all this. And then you think forward and you say, okay, you know that company, Bethesda Game Studios? Yeah, they're working on a space RPG. And it's basically going to be Skyrim in space. That's the idea. With 1,000 planets and spaceship building and all this stuff. And in the year of our Lord Todd Howard, 2023, even back in 2023, No Man's Sky still, I think a lot of people looked at as a more comprehensive space exploration package. But even now, like, they're doing stuff like this. The shipbuilding, which I thought was one of the coolest things that they did in Starfield. Now they're doing it in No Man's Sky, in co-op even. And you can even edit the ship, he says, while flying through space and using your, like, jump drive. That's insane, dude. That's absolutely crazy. And then you flip it to the other side and you think of like Star Citizen. Star Citizen is charging thousands for some ships. Granted, those ships are ridiculous and are like big enough that they need 30 people to run them. But like, again, this is what you're going to be compared to if you try to go head to head on console and PC. Like, this is what you're going at. It's crazy.
Top Snack donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
What are the chances AAA companies start trying to push for games that mimic Helldivers 2? Helldivers 2 managed to pull in 400K players again last night. Over a year later, that is impressive.
They start trying to push for games that mimic Helldivers 2. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by mimic. Like, are they going to try to make cooperative shooters that have like meta narratives and like a game master that dictates it? Probably, but I would say that that's also not that unique of an idea. It's like, hey, we're going to have a co-op shooter where you load into missions together and you grind out battle passes. Like, there's a lot more to Helldivers, but I think that basic archetype is something that they've tried multiple times to do. Many companies have tried to do, and of course not really achieved it. So I think it's likely that we'll see more of it, but only for the Halo update. I mean, anytime you have a game that people like, they just, eventually fall off of it because it's really hard to have a game that people play for years and years and years that's still fresh or interesting. But whenever there's a big update that's exciting, you'll see people flood back in, just to check it out. And the Halo update, I think people are like, oh, maybe, should we try it? Should we check it out? And they'll try it. I'm sure within a week it'll drop back down. For me, the bummer is that, like, Helldivers, I don't know if you guys, maybe tell me if you've tried it. I tried a good amount of Helldivers 2 the other night when I was playing with my buddies. And dude, I have not had that many bugs in Helldivers or really any live service game in a while. Like, I kept multiple members of our team were getting stuck underneath objects. Like, you would dive to get away from shots or explosions, and then you'd clip underneath the map or something. We had problems where, like, one of us died and you couldn't get them back. So you would, like, send in a reinforcement, but they wouldn't reinforce with the other people. Just that one player was stuck out of the game forever. It was really weird. You're supposed to kill the bugs, Luke. Yeah. Yeah, the bugs, they're even in the code now. They're evolving. Yeah, it was just really weird. And I understand, like, they've exponentially increase the complexity of everything that's going on, but I was genuinely surprised because I remember playing it a ton at launch and I was like, this thing is so freaking polished and tight. Like, it's just really impressive what they've done, but it's definitely gotten a little more shaky as time has gone by, which is unfortunate, but hopefully they can fix it up. It still is very playable. It still is a good time, but still. I want to show you guys this because this is kind of crazy. Okay. News. Oh wait, I should read through these. Coming in to say hi. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid Delta early access. I'm a sucker, I know, but enjoy your day. Keep making top content. Thank you, Nerdy Giant. Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Glad to have you here, my friend. Glad to have you. Let's see. I read that one. Michael, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, how do I access your Discord server? I can't find a link anywhere, and I have linked my YouTube account. If you've linked your YouTube account to your Discord and you're still not getting the invite to the server, like on that connections tab, just send me an email, luke@28thave.com, luke@28thave.com, and send me a screenshot proving that you're a member, and I can get you in. We've had a lot of people have problems with the Discord auto connection thing, so just send me that email and I can get you in. Okay. Let's see. Helldivers 2 Deep Dive looks like stuff you've been asking for since launch. I'm so hyped. Yeah, dude, it looks really, really good. Vikati, will you be checking out the No Man's Sky update? Hell yeah, we just did. I remember watching that trailer on repeat. Yeah, the Expedition one. It was so good, dude. It was so good. And Syndicate 57, thank you for the sub, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let me show you this because this is honestly kind of crazy. Okay. There is I guess I can do it this way. News time. So there is an AI company called Dynamics Lab, and they have come under fire after initially having a post go sort of viral, but basically what they shared was this. It's called Mirage 2, a real-time general domain generative world engine you can play online. Upload any image, photos, concept art, classic paintings, kids' drawings, and step into it as a live interactive world. Prompt your worlds with text to create any surreal scenes and wild events, then share a link. Your friends can jump in and play instantly. And this is what they shared. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. As you can see, they put in the screenshot. Somebody looked it up. They found the screenshot. It was literally Red Dead Redemption 2. They found the exact screenshot that it was copied from, that it then immediately starts generating off of. But it also looks like this possibly is a fake demo, and is like using a bunch of AI generated video stitched together. But either way, this is part of the vision of some of these like AI video game creators. They think that this is the future. Okay. So what they did is they typed in a pristine modern metropolis, clean, busy, bustling with glass towers and heavy traffic of sports vehicles. The main character sitting confident atop a dark gray something. And then you'll see it transition. He rounds the corner and then you see him ride up and there's a city. He turns around and all of a sudden he's on a city street and it's generating an interactive world through AI. Wow. A scene fractures into dazzling cyberpunk dystopian future, blah, blah, blah. He turns the camera and then it's going to start turning into that. Wait for it. Purple. Of course, purple. You have to have purple. There he turns, and then you'll see it generating that. And here's the deal. Like, some of this stuff is just honestly a fun little gimmick, right? It's just a fun little gimmick to be like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting that it's creating like an AI generated whatever. But there are companies that are literally raising tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to do this, but in a video game development context. There are people that are making massive investments thinking that this is the future of game development, that this is where the future lies when it comes to creating AAA gaming experiences. Because for one, they're like, oh, so we don't even need to hire developers really. We just need to kind of have this AI tool set that can create what the player wants or can create what the developer in question wants by just typing a bunch of prompts in. And so excuse me, we don't even have to make anything. We can just let the AI do it, right? And I can't believe I'm saying this, but shockingly, the most grounded take on AI generation within video games came from the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, Strauss Zelnick. Take-Two Interactive is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They're the ones that publish NBA 2K, like one of the most over-monetized sports games in the world. They also, of course, are the publishers and owners of Rockstar and GTA and Red Dead and all of that. But when he was asked about AI generation on CNBC, we actually looked at it on stream, he pointed out that AI, by its very nature, is trained on stuff. And by training it on stuff, that means it is, from the ground up, built on other work. It is derivative. It's built using a lot of stuff that it's looked at and then trying to present something it thinks matches what you're asking it. It's not actually creating anything. It's creating a derivation of that. It's why AI image generators really, really struggle with creating like a overflowing glass of wine, which we've even done on stream, where we pulled up an AI image generator and tried to ask it to create a glass of wine with the red wine spilling over the top of the glass, because it's been trained on all of these photos of a glass perfectly filled halfway, no more, no less, in these advertising, promotional materials, whatever. And so it doesn't understand how to present something that's overflowing because it's never been trained on that. And in the context of video game creation and film creation and everything else, because it doesn't create, it never will. Like, maybe there is a version of an AI that they could create that is capable of actual creation of unique things. But as of right now, all it's doing is it's just being trained on a bunch of other stuff, clips and videos and stuff, or in this case, an actual screenshot from Red Dead Redemption 2. And then it's trying to infer from that what the game should be. And that just doesn't necessarily follow. And you can see even over the course of this video, like the horse starts out with the white top. By the end of the video, the horse has turned completely brown and black, and it's like the gun now, the barrel is crooked, and it's lost all of that detail because it's not actually grounded in anything. It's just trying to present an imitation of it. So naturally this came out and people were like, wow, this looks like garbage. And they shared some other videos. They shared like this screenshot, and they show some little tidbits like this. And I do think there is an application where this could perhaps be useful in a game development space. Like if you had somebody that is not an artist, who is not a like level designer or something, and they're just trying to communicate to the team kind of the vibe they're going. I could see this, like you let this generate something like this for you, and then you show, yeah, so this is kind of the vibe I'm looking for, like a city with cobblestone streets, the lamps and everything. Of course, don't put the lamp in the street, we'll move it off to the side, but like this is the kind of vibe I'm going for. I could see that. This actual game within oh crap, what's the artist's name? Van Gogh. That's kind of interesting. Okay. You can see they're charging, of course, for all of this. Computer required single consumer grade GPU. Other ones, starting from a child's drawing, they can generate stuff like this from a house. This one, they can also do. So I could see this being useful in some contexts, just for communicating like a quick idea of what you kind of have in your head. But do I think they'll ever use this in the context of like creating a video game from it? No, I personally don't think so. I think we'll see people try it. I think so. But I think they'll be terrible, personally. I can't foresee it working well. But, you know, we're in the infancy of this stuff. You remember when NFTs were becoming a big thing back in like 2021? Everything was about NFTs. All of these companies were saying, yeah, we're investing heavily in NFT architectures and we're doing all of this because it was basically being framed as Web 3.0 and as the next generation of crypto. And everybody's like, wow, Bitcoin's exploding. So if I can get in early on the next like Bitcoin, awesome. And so they put tons of money. And even now, like earlier this year, Ubisoft was still releasing NFT games because they had been in production for years. And it takes that long to see it. So I think we'll see probably in like 2, 3, 4 years, we'll start to see some of these games that are being produced and built with these like generative tools. And they'll probably be terrible because I just don't think that it doesn't, like Strauss-Zelnick said, it doesn't create, it derives. And that doesn't mean that it's useless as a tool, but it's important to understand what it's actually doing and what it's capable of. And I feel like right now there's a lot of these like boomer type dudes who don't actually understand what the AI is actually doing. And they're just like, oh, so I can just type in and it can create an entire video game that we can sell for $70. Oh yeah, let's just do that. Like, I think there's very little actual appreciation for what's going on. And I think that's also happening across the rest of the tech sector. Apple just published a paper a few weeks ago where they had some of their AI engineers researching this, and they found that like these big LLMs, these AI models that Grok, ChatGPT use, they are not actually capable of reasoning. And how they trained it was really interesting. They asked the AI to read basically a manual for a game, and so that it could learn how to play this like board game basically. And then what they did is they changed one of the rules just a little. Just a little. You know, it could be something as simple as like if you think of playing chess, you learn the rules of chess, you can play chess. But then I say, hey, we're not going to do en passant. We're not going to allow that in this game for whatever reason. We're just not going to allow en passant. When they made that change, it literally could not grasp it. Like the AI fell apart and was not able to perform any of the tasks asked as it pertained to the game because it wasn't actually like evaluating and thinking logically that, okay, I want to do this move, I want to do this, this, and this, but I was told that this rule changed, so I have to change my understanding of the rules based on that and do that. It didn't work. And it's just because, again, like the AI tools, the way it's been described also by some people, which is very, very oversimplified, is just that a lot of these AI tools are effectively massively powerful and capable, like autocorrect, if you want to think of it that way. What they're basically doing is they're trying to complete your prompts, given the information you've given it and being trained on all this other data. It's trying to fill in an answer that it believes you will agree with. And sometimes it's very capable and it's capable of doing really impressive things, but it's not actually thinking. It's not like logical. It's just trying to connect dots as efficiently as it can. That's why it's important to just understand what it actually is, you know? So we're going to see more of this. I mean, again, like I said, we're already seeing these things creep up. And I would imagine in the next 3, 4, 5 years, you'll see like, oh, did you see the new game on the Switch? It's a cyberpunk open world adventure game, and this is literally all it is. It's like a couple of pictures they put into one of these AI tools, and then they run it and simulate it. It doesn't remember what was in front. You see the camera just changed, and then the environment changes and everything. This is going to be the extent of it. And I'm sure these tools will get better. They'll get higher resolution. They'll run faster. They'll remember like layouts and situational stuff more. But I think it just is it betrays that some of these people just don't understand video games if they think that this is an adequate replacement or could ever be an adequate replacement for like a well-built and crafted open world. Excuse me. But I thought it was interesting, and I thought I would share it with you because I do find it compelling and an interesting topic, and it's one that we're going to hear a lot about in the future. Jez mentioned thing about all this shit is ultimately about whether this works as a business at scale. If there's no audience for AI bullocks masquerading as games, the electricity use isn't even going to come close to paying for itself. And this is the big thing. If nobody wants it, there's no point. However cool it may be, it doesn't matter. And this was the thing with NFTs. I can understand the pitch of NFTs, and I told you guys on stream, there is a universe where NFTs could have been used for good. You know, there was a universe where NFTs could be tied to digital licenses for games. So like if I buy a game on Steam, I'd be able to sell you the license to that game because it's tied to the blockchain and because it's specifically just my non-fungible token copy that gives me the right to play this game and own it. And so you could actually sell digital assets to each other, meaning you could buy a game and then sell it to your buddy for $1 if you wanted to. And then he could just put in the code or whatever, and then he could play the game on Steam. That could have been done. It wasn't though, because that would not make these companies tons of money. You know, instead they wanted to use NFTs to allow you to like buy skins in games and then bring them to other games so that you keep buying tons of skins. And then if you want to ever sell your skin to somebody else, then they take a 10% cut of that every single step of the way. And it just very quickly fell apart. And my frustration with NFTs was always, why should players be excited about this? What is the thing that's going to make players have a better time with it? And they could never explain it. Like there wasn't really a reason why players and gamers should like NFTs other than it's a new way to spend money. Whereas NFTs could have been used to allow for like transfer of digital assets like copies of games or CDs or movies and things. Like imagine if you were able to buy a movie on Amazon Prime Video and then sell your copy of that movie to your buddy. Like that would be amazing. That'd be great. Just like physical media, basically. But they're never going to do that because then they only make money on one copy. So, you know, even though NFTs could have been used for good, they were not. And now we all know. Now we all know where it goes, you know. Sir David, thank you for the 5. Hi, Luke. A new game you'll probably love. Ixion? Base management in space. Been playing it for a few days. Awesome and good story. Thank you for the recommendation. I will look it up. Also, this just happened. Ghost Story Games has just revealed the key art for Judas, the new game from Ken Levine. So, of course, BioShock 4 was just delayed. Like, it was originally late 2026 to early 2027, and now it's been delayed to some point after that. So it's probably a next-gen game at this point. But Judas, they've been working on this since like 2014, I think, 2015 or something. So it should be close. Almost a year and a half ago, actually, they did a whole marketing push where they invited Jeff Keighley, what's his name from IGN, and then they invited the FPS podcast crew out, and they got to play some of Judas and talk to Ken Levine about it. But after that, they did like no marketing whatsoever. They didn't do much of anything after that. And so I'm wondering if they're revving up to do like an actual marketing push on this. Game Awards trailer. That would make sense, especially if Jeff is pushing this out. I bet he's in talks with them. And we know he has a relationship with Ken Levine because he went and was part of that preview like a year-ish ago. So I bet that could totally be it. They just need to get it out the door. Like Ken Levine, his whole thing is that he's always struggled actually getting games out the door. But if he actually like sits down and commits, it can work. What is this? V0.5 version 0.5. I'm looking for Easter eggs. Judas 120. I think that's 120. Well, there's 1, 2, and then over here is 0.5. December 5th. No, probably not. But still, I can hope and dream. Maybe. I hope he has a trailer soon, because I loved BioShock Infinite. I just love BioShock in general, but BioShock Infinite especially I love. And I would love to see what he's been working on. I just want to see it. Give it to me now. Fernando, thank you for the 10. Luke, did you check the list of game releases in late September and October? Insanely competitive: Battlefield 6, Pokemon, Borderlands, Yote, EA, FC, etc. Some big budget games will fail hard. I mean, even just among those, so like FC, I think will do well regardless. It's kind of its own thing basically. Pokemon also, I think being Pokemon, will always do well. So I don't think that's really like, those are not cannibalizing each other, right? Borderlands, there's a hardcore, especially casual audience for Borderlands that are going to eat that up. So I think that's going to do pretty well, especially if it reviews decently. Borderlands 3 was critiqued a lot for like writing and for pacing and things like that, and it still performed very, very, very well. So I'd be shocked if this one didn't also do well. Battlefield 6, I do think stands a really good shot. I think it's going to do well. We also have, Yote. I also think Yote does well. Like, I think each of these kind of fits into their own niche and will be okay. The ones that I would be worried about, just frankly, like even Silksong being early September, the ones I'm worried about are the ones that have kind of flown under the radar so far. So like Hell Is Us, for example, we've talked about that and we just mentioned it earlier on stream. That one's launching the same day as Silksong. Chronos. Some of those games could be overshadowed a little. I hope they don't, because I think they look really interesting and compelling. But at some point, it is, I mean, people only have so much time. And that's perhaps the other thing. Like, we play a lot of games. If you're here watching this stream, like, you probably play a lot of games, but a lot of other people only have, like, one game. They might pick Borderlands and that's it for the entire month, Let's see. Lil Markey, thank you for the 5. Just finished Death Stranding 1 yesterday, starting part 2 after watching your critique. The graphics jump is amazing. Any advice going in? Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, the graphics jump is crazy. As for advice going in to Death Stranding 2, I guess it would depend if you played the director's cut of Death Stranding 1 or if you played the original version. The director's cut has a lot of quality of life improvements that'll make it, I think, a little bit easier and smoother to transition in. But overall, I mean, it's Death Stranding 2 is just Death Stranding 1, but better in many, many ways. My frustration with Death Stranding 2 is that it relies a lot on vehicle deliveries for the first, like, 70% of the game, which is frustrating because I think the most fun I personally have in Death Stranding is when I'm, like, hiking in the mountains and I'm, like, putting up ladders and dropping ropes and doing stuff like that, setting up zip lines. That's where I've had the most fun and find the most satisfaction. Throwing a bunch of stuff in trucks and then driving it, it's not as fun for me. So I would say definitely take your time playing through it. Try to do secondary activities and deliveries, not just beelining through the main story, Try to shake it up, do some different stuff, Director's cut, yeah, then you'll have a pretty easy time going through. Dropping ropes, yeah, slinging ropes. Let's see. Always Fresh, you talk about being good enough for Game Pass like it's a bad thing immediately after calling Game Pass calling a Game Pass. Hold on, okay, let me try this again. Always Fresh said you talk about being good enough for Game Pass like it's a bad thing immediately after calling a Game Pass game a masterpiece. You seem confused. I often am confused, I'll give you that. But I think this was in the context of Outer Worlds 2. And I think it's the key is that typically Game Pass games people view as like the ideal Game Pass game is one that is probably in that like AA tier where it's not an indie game. You know, it's not $10, not $15, $20 or whatever. It's not 2 hours long. Like it's a good game, probably like a C+, B-. It's not quite good enough to charge $70 for, $80 for, whatever the premium price may be on the platform, but it's good enough to justify playing just, you know, at the accessible price point of your subscription. In the case of Expedition 33, which I think is what you're referring to with the masterpiece being on Game Pass, yeah, I mean, Expedition 33 is a masterpiece, and I think it being on Game Pass is the exception to the rule instead of the rule. A lot of other games that they've had on Game Pass, at least in the last year, have kind of surprisingly come and gone very, very quickly, or they ended up being kind of like, yeah, they're good, just not quite masterpiece level things. Whether you look at like you know, something from a year and a half, 2 years ago, like Starfield, or you look even at something like Doom, The Dark Ages. I'm shocked that nobody's talking about Doom anymore. Like Doom 6 months ago, everybody was like, that's going to be one of the contenders for Game of the Year. And it came and went, dude. Like, I understand that it's not a super long game, but still. Yeah, South of Midnight also came out, and I thought is a similar vibe. Like, it was a C+, B- game. It did some things really interesting, had some other like problems, but it's a game I probably wouldn't have played if I had to pay $60 for it or $50 or $70 for it up front. But because it's on Game Pass, I will try it, you know? Doom: The Dark Ages was 70% great and 30% mech and dragon. I was surprised that they never like really shook up. They never really shook up like the big mech thing at all. The combat within the dragon sections stayed just as bland as it ever was. I was just surprised. Yeah. Why did it disappear? I mean, I think it just was a shorter game. People played it and moved on. You know, I think it also just didn't have a lot of staying power in the public discourse and then like Game of the Year contention because it's just not on that level. Like, we have a lot of really amazing games this year and it just wasn't on that level, you know? I'm glad you enjoyed it, Matt. I enjoyed my time with it too. I just was like, I 6 months ago at the top of this year, I remember we did like a segment where we were talking about the future of, we were like trying to figure out what the Game of the Year nominees would be. And a lot of people were saying that Doom was going to be up there, and it just wasn't. You know, it fell off really quickly. Jesse Pinkman, out of all people, Jesse showed up. Thank you for the 5. Hey, Steven. When I'm off doing business with Mr. Y, your podcast keeps me entertained. Thanks for the stream. Much love from New Mexico. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out Albuquerque. That's great. Yeah. Tell Mr. White I said hi. I hope he's doing well. I don't know. Haven't heard from him in a while. Do you think the next big thing from Software single player game will be, or what do I think their next thing will be? I'm getting the vibe that they might be doing something totally new. The current project, of course, is that Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive that's coming next year. That's the one Miyazaki's working on. There's also a rumored and speculated and potentially even leaked second game that they're working on at the same time. But a lot of people think it's probably a remake or remaster of like Dark Souls 3, or maybe it's like a big expansion for Armored Core 6 or something. We just don't know. But it's not Miyazaki's core team. It's a different team within the studio. So after they finish that, Miyazaki will probably move on to whatever he wants to do next, which could be literally anything. Bloodborne, maybe. Maybe it might also just be something totally fresh. Like, Hidetaka Miyazaki is one of these creative guys where I genuinely think he just wants to like push himself. Like, he doesn't want to just do the same thing over and over and over again. A lot of us were like in love with Dark Souls, but he also was like, yeah, I want to do something fresh. And you know what? Doing something fresh and different is how we got like Elden Ring. So I'm okay if he wants to experiment and do different things. Like the initial discussion over Elden Ring, like, hey, it's going to be Dark Souls basically, but open world. Like, not there were people who were like, I'm not sure if that translates, because I think of Dark Souls having like really carefully winding and intricately designed levels. I'm not sure if that works. That might be lame, but it ended up being phenomenal. You know, so I think it's good for him to shake it up. So if he does a new IP, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine. Yeah. Yeah. Silksong, yeah, Silksong is probably gonna be up there with the Game of the Year contention, would be my guess. And we still have like Ghost of Yotei coming, so yeah, it's gonna be a hotly debated year for sure. But it's one of those years where it's not like, I don't think I'd be upset at most of the nominees if they won, you know? Like if KCD2 wins, I'll be perfectly happy. If Expedition 33 wins, I'll be perfectly happy. You know, like if of course we haven't played Ghost of Yotei yet, but assuming it's really, really good, I'll be perfectly happy. You know, it's not one of these years where it's like there's one game that's like everybody's rooting for, and then it's the industry game. You know, there's a lot of very valid contenders right now. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater was already modded to remove the 60 FPS cap. Lol, modders fixed the game in less than 24 hours. Lazy devs strike again. Yeah, dude. Well, and that whole discourse around the Metal Gear Solid port, it's just so funny to me because it's you have two basic sides of it. Like one side is saying, hey, the devs were lazy and didn't optimize this at all. And then the other side is like, no, this is Unreal Engine. The devs did their best, and that's that. And it's really fascinating to watch. Like, really interesting. Like, I think some of it is that people have decided they want to buy it, which, whatever, you can buy it. The point is to communicate what it runs like and how it runs so you know what you're getting into, you know? That's the key. If you don't know what you're getting into, you'll buy it and be frustrated and disappointed and upset. But if we communicate, hey, it runs at 720p, even on performance mode, and it runs barely better on a PS5 Pro. And even I saw one guy, this was kind of crazy. Look at this. Loading. Nick Tech. I tried running Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater on the lowest possible settings with an internal resolution of 640 by 360 using FSR performance, so a 2x scale factor. It's literally 360p and this game still dips to 30 FPS. Like this is an optimization issue, okay? To be perfectly clear. This is not like, oh, it's just Unreal Engine. This is devs being like cutting corners, being lazy, not having time to fix it. I don't even know, because this is like hilariously bad. If your game can't run at a locked 60 at 360p, what are we doing? What are we doing? I understand people love Metal Gear. That's awesome. I think that's awesome. I think that's great. But like, you shouldn't defend this. Like, what are we doing, fam? 1% lows of 53. Dude, and that's even with all of the upscalers and everything turned on. 0.1% low of 33 frames. Like, come on. Come on. Excuse me. Let's see. Samuel James, thank you for the 5. Do you plan on checking out Lost Soul Aside, waiting on reviews before checking it out, but curious on your thoughts? Yeah, I'm also curious about it too. Isn't that the game that was made by like one guy? Or am I thinking of something else? Let's see. Upcoming action adventure role-playing game from Ulti Zero Games. Player assumes the role of Kaiser, who embarks on a perilous journey to rescue his sister Luisa from humanity from the Wardrex, mysterious invaders. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it started as a project from one guy, Yang Bing, and then it turned into a full team over the years as they got like funding and stuff. Okay. That's it. Okay. But yeah, I'm interested. It basically, as far as I can tell, from the bits I've read about it, it basically sounds like it was a guy that was a huge fan of Final Fantasy and kind of went, you know what, I could do this better. And just decided to do his own thing, and it did a pretty phenomenal job from the looks of it. But yeah, I've not seen it. I'm not reviewing it or anything, so we'll see reviews together, see what we think of it. Yeah, one guy, then Sony picked him up. Yeah, I think Sony picked him up, and then they greenlit him to get like a bigger team, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Y'all cry about 640 by 480 at 30 FPS is fine. Dude, that's what some of these guys sound like. In the comment section of that stream clip I posted, it wasn't even from the stream, but of that thing we posted talking about it, there were people saying, okay, but you haven't played it yet, so your opinion's invalid. There was one guy that commented and he was like, dude, 720p is perfectly fine, and anybody who pretends like they can see a difference between that and 4K is lying. It's like, bro, if you can't tell the difference between 720p and 4K, you need glasses. Like, you just do. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this is literally the scale difference. Okay? Okay, where's a good comparison? This is the difference in resolution between 4K, which is the full picture, and 720p. You're telling me you won't be able to see the difference? You're telling me it's like you can't see it? Come on. I don't believe you. If it's genuinely true that you can't see the difference, you, like, no joke, need glasses, because it's, or you're playing on like a phone. Like, there, yes, playing 720p on a small screen is fine, totally fine. Playing on like a TV or a monitor at those resolutions in 2025, I don't think is acceptable. Cured Madness, thank you for the 10. Off topic, whenever you talk about Ghost of Tsushima, you always say it was heavily compared to Far Cry. I could be remembering wrong, but I don't think I saw that. Assassin's Creed, but not Far Cry. I wonder if I could find the review. The comparisons to Far Cry specifically came from the, like, you know, base encampments, where if you think back to, like, whether it's Far Cry 5 or even Far Cry 6, it was always about clearing the bases. You go in there, you get a couple of key items you need for upgrading, and you move on. And Ghost of Tsushima was set up in a similar way. I wonder which review it was. I'm always surprised that it only got 83 is still a very good score on Metacritic, but I'm always surprised by that. Like, look at this. As appropriate as it would be to knock Tsushima for being the same sort of boilerplate open worlder that Ubisoft tosses out every few months, the truth is that I still got some entertainment out of roaming the pretty landscapes. Dude, game critics gave it a 5 out of 10. They gave Ghost of Tsushima a 5 out of 10. Whew. Woo. But let's see. Maybe it was like PC Gamer. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is a samurai Assassin's Creed Ubisoft wish it had made. Dude, Ubisoft's just standing on the sideline like, hey, I'm not even over there. Stop. IGN maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to go and look it up, because of course it's been a good long while since I looked at reviews for Ghost of Tsushima, but I could look it up and see it. The comparisons to Assassin's Creed, of course, were numerous, as we just saw, but it also was compared, as I recall, to Far Cry, specifically for the bases and going in and like clearing bases and stuff repeatedly. Let's see. Should I play Witcher 3 with some whiskey tonight? Every night, dude. Every single night. That's how you should do it. Jay Moore, thank you for the 5. With all 3 coming out in the same week, which one are you most excited about? Hell Is Us, Chronos, or Lost Soul Aside? I think probably Hell Is Us. Because I love the idea of a game that unapologetically does not hold your hand. It's just like, figure it out. Figure it out. I respect that. I respect that. I'm here for it. You know, I think more games need to be like that. But Chronos looks interesting. Lost Soul Aside looks really interesting. I think they're all going to be good, I'm sure. But I'm not sure. I suspect. Lost Soul is denying reviews, which is a red flag. Are they? Yeah, I mean, that's not great. That's not great. Whenever you have a company, like there are some great games that do like same day review embargoes and things like that. It does happen, but no reviews at all. I mean, and then Phonent, thank you for the 5. What do you think about Routine? 13 years of dev hell by 3 people. Big Alien Isolation vibes. Routine. Excuse me. Sorry, everybody. It's a first-person sci-fi horror game set on an abandoned lunar base. Explore and investigate your surroundings as you survive against unknown threats. I'm not familiar with this one too much. It looks like the trailer looks vaguely familiar, like I've seen it before. Was this shown recently? Was this at Gamescom or something? Yeah, I think it was at Gamescom. I think this trailer was. That's why it looks familiar. But yeah, I've not done a lot of digging into it. I didn't know anything about it. It's an interesting one. It was a Gamescom. Yeah, okay. I was like, the trailer looks really familiar, but I can't think of like Routine the game. But okay, yeah, it was shown at Gamescom. But you're telling me it's made by 3 people? Interesting. I will have to follow it. Yeah. Let's see. And then Bender the Offender, thank you for the 5. Thank you guys for being so generous. Not gaming related, but are you going to watch the new Avatar movie when it comes out? Probably, as I think most people probably will. I'll get dragged to it. Not dragged. Like those movies I feel like are movies you go and watch in the theater and then you never watch them again. Am I crazy? Like I can't imagine a lot of people are like, what should we watch tonight for a fun movie night, honey? Let's watch Avatar 2. Like I just don't see that happening. Maybe it does. I just can't see that happening. I don't think I've ever heard of that happening. But in the movie theater, it's a fun time, but it's just not one of those movies you watch repeatedly. Oh, there's a dedicated fan base on Reddit. I mean, I'd buy that. There's a community on Reddit for everything, to be fair. But yeah. Huh. First one's my favorite. Well, I hope that they're at least tying this together in an interesting way. Because they always end up being like fine. Like visually interesting and really pretty and stuff, but I don't really remember anything about the stories, you know. Sorry. Gold for Netflix and chill. Oh, dude, they're probably really good, like baked out of your mind. I could see watching an Avatar movie and just losing it. I could see that. Oh, a subreddit with fan art. Uh-oh. Yeah, there was a whale or something. There was like a whale and then like juice came out of the whale. Then there was like a fire on the ship and it started sinking and then they fought. I think. How can you not remember John Avatar? John Avatar and his brother, Avatar Smith. They're not related. Yeah. Any Netflix Assassin's Creed news? Nope, nothing that I know of. We'll probably hear more. A lot of people think that they're going radio silent for the rest of the year and then they'll pop out early next year and start showcasing stuff, but we will see. We will see. I think the expectation right now is that we probably get Black Flag Remake. I think Jor was saying it was going to be before March is when it should be coming. Which I think makes sense. Like if they can put it out around there, maybe even like a February time period, they put out the Black Flag remaster, remake, whatever it is. And then that gives enough time for Hexe to come out maybe in the fall to winter. That could work really well. Yeah. Let's see. Have you played No Rest for the Wicked? I have. The art style looks cool. Wishlisted on the PSN store. You recommend it? Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hardcore, but the artwork is phenomenal. There's been a lot of reworking of some of the systems and stuff because it is early access, but what I played, I enjoyed. And I'm sure it's only going to get better and better as time goes on. I know that they were struggling with, like, I think it was finances. There was some problem and like dispute there, but I think they're doing better now. But yeah, I tried it. I really liked it. I think it's going to be pretty cool when it's all said and done. Scuba John, also thank you for the membership, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I've just become numb to all these remakes now. Oh, dude, if they do a good job with the Black Flag remake, I will be very happy. I will be a happy camper. I'll tell you what. I'm trying to get my back to pop. You know, you get one of those like spots in your lower back and you're like, I feel it, but it just won't go. That's where I'm at right now. It's close, but it's not close enough. Well, okay, fam. Did you talk about Starfield already? I joined late today. Yes, we did. We did earlier in the stream. We did look at it. Fam. I have something pretty fun that I'm going to go do. It is a secret for now. Soon it will not be a secret. But something pretty cool. Okay. And then another cool thing after that next week. But we do have some cool stuff in the works. Drink some tea for that cough. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna get loaded up. I'm gonna go make some. So are you gonna eat, sleep, poop, 3 cool things? Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. It'll be fun. But as part of that, I must adjourn and depart. We will. Well, I want to do another stream on Friday. My problem is I genuinely don't know how my internet will be. So I don't know if I can or can't. I don't know yet. I will find out tonight, but I don't know yet. So we will see. We will see. If not, we'll just do stream clips and highlights and I'll upload them separately, okay? But I will try, okay? Yeah, I'll go pinch off some shots. Jesus. Yeah, what a weird way to say that. Okay, but we'll call it there. Thank you for hanging out with me. Much, much love. I'll be back as soon as I possibly can. Okay? Much, much love. Yeah, I feel like there was something else to say, but I can't think of it. Join the PS5 Pro giveaway if you haven't already. It's in the link tree in the description. Go do that, okay? If you've not already enter because we're going to do the drawing. I guess end of the month is like Saturday, Sunday. So we'll do the drawing on the winner for that on Monday, I think. So yeah, get entered. Okay. Much love, everybody. I'll see you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.